in my circle? Who the one who be the snakes? Who gon' fold up under pressure? Who gon' understand the stakes? Who gon' wait to get their food to try to take from off my plate? Who the love? Who gon' understand I'm hurt? Who gon' love me unconditionally and try and make it work? Who gon' party once I'm gone and shed a tear once I'm in dirt? I ain't asking for too much, I'm trying to understand my worth.
Welcome to the next episode of Give Me My Crown podcast.
Give Me My Crown podcast.
We back at you with another recap of the NCAA football.
Yes, sir.
I know it's been, 2 weeks since we've been here?
Yep.
And it's, a lot of crazy things that happened. We missed last week, so we had some good games we're going to talk about last week and go over some games that went on this week.
Yes.
So first of all, let's start with last week's, kind of go in order. Last week, big game. You had Georgia and Texas.
Yes.
Obviously, we seen Georgia pull that out. Texas offense was not there at all.
It was not. Why is that?
They started with Quinn Ewers. They could have started with Arch.
Yeah.
I think the coach was going to be. It was going to be hard for the coach either way because if he would have put in Arch and it was the same outcome, they would have been like, well, he should have played Quinn Ewers.
Yep.
So I think it was. I don't think the coach could have made I don't think there could have been a bad call for the coach. I think it was kind of who do you prefer more.
I agree. You know how I felt. I just feel like you ride with the hot hand.
Yeah, I understand. What do you think about? Carson Beck was looking real good to start the season. He's having a lot of turnovers now.
He is, man, but they winning.
They're winning.
I feel like Carson Beck is just able to hold on to the team because the team is a good team,
Yes.
And as long as the team plays together, they're going to win. They're going to be there in the end. So yeah.
Because even looking at the one game we lost against Alabama, he had 2 or 3 turnovers in the first half.
Correct.
But then he turned around in the second half and brought them back.
He did, man. Yep.
So for him, I guess it's showing that he can win even when facing adversity.
I agree, but I don't think it's all on his shoulders, right? Like,
oh yeah,
with Texas, it's on Arch or Quinn's shoulder.
Yes,
but with him, his whole team around him is amazing.
That's true, and the defense. The defense is important on that team.
It is. Yep.
You got Malachi Sparks back there, who is arguably one of the best safeties in the nation.
I agree. Yep.
And the rest of the defense, they're just like they held Texas to 15 points. That says a lot.
It does.
And it was a healthy Texas team too.
It's not how you look at it. I'm just saying.
Also last week, Alabama second loss.
Man, struggle
against a hot Tennessee team right now.
Yes, that was a great game though.
That was a real good game.
Yep.
I think Tennessee's defense stepped up when they needed to, especially in the last drive of the game where Alabama threw the pick. Yeah. That was Tennessee's defense definitely stepped up in that moment, which ultimately won them, sealed the deal for them.
I'm a strong believer in you get your playmakers the ball, right?
Yeah.
They gotta find ways besides going deep to get Ryan Williams the ball.
Yes, whether it's reverses, like whatever it is. Because you see what Tennessee did in that game. Tennessee gave it to Donald Simpson the fourth quarter and let him just take over, and he's getting these chunk yards, whether it's 5, 6, 7 yards, but he's constantly getting these first downs, running the clock, holding the ball.
Yep.
And so, like you said, they got to do the same thing. Their best players are Jalen Milroe, Jam Miller, and Ryan Williams. So, like you said, they got to find a way to get the ball in Ryan Williams' hands.
But I also say, you can hand the ball off 20 times a game, 30 times a game. Yes. They will not do that either.
They won't. They stray away from the running game too quick and try to go to the air, which I think Alabama is built on as a running team. And by running the ball first, you are then opening up play action to get Ryan Williams the ball.
Yes.
So I think them not running the ball as much as they should or could, I think is hurting them right now.
And while we don't talking about Alabama has not looked good since they lost to Vandy.
That's true.
Like they have not looked like the team that we thought they would be this year.
Correct, and that's if you're talking about that's if you're talking about both sides of the ball too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a complete game. Oregon obviously won. They were number 2. That pushed them up to number 1, but they beat Purdue.
Okay, all right, that's true. I actually picked Purdue. I thought Purdue was going to win that game, upset game. Didn't happen.
Nah, they won 35-0. Yep. And, I mean, Oregon right now is looking like an amazing team, like offense and defense.
The most consistent team by everybody.
Yes. BYU won again last week against Oklahoma State. BYU has had some close games, but BYU at this point is still winning, and they're undefeated.
Yep.
So they are going to be very interesting when it comes down to it, because right now they were ranked number 13 last week. I'm pretty sure they're higher now.
Yeah.
But it's going to get interesting when it comes time for playoff time.
BYU is number 9 right now.
Okay, so they're number 9.
Yeah.
Okay. Who else? So you also have Miami. Miami, they came out looking strong against Louisville.
Yes.
Then they let Louisville start creeping back, and they only won by 7 points.
But you said it, though. Louisville is a tough match. We said Louisville and Virginia Tech are 2 tough teams. Yep.
Yes, and just because Louisville is not ranked, Louisville came in the season ranked pretty high.
They did, yep.
And Louisville is a decent team in itself, even though their record doesn't show it.
Yeah.
Now, what I do think, this does Miami has had a lot of close games within a touchdown, which I think is hurting their ranking. But on the flip side, what I think it's doing, it shows you that Miami can win these close games, if anything. So I think that's helping Miami in the long run, because instead of them winning by 20, 30 points and don't know how to handle the game when it's close, this is showing that they know how to handle the game when it's close.
They top 5, Sonya.
I know, but what I'm saying is you got some people are up in arms because you got 1-loss teams above these defeated teams.
Okay,
but you got Georgia number 2.
Yes.
They're 1 loss, but then you got Miami. You got Penn State,
Ohio,
who are behind them, and Ohio, who are behind them, who have or Ohio has 1 loss, but Penn State and Miami don't have any losses.
Correct.
Who else last week? We talked.
Notre Dame. Don't talk about
who?
I love the coach, man. He said all he do is win. Like check my record.
Who?
Indiana.
That's true. What is Indiana ranked?
Indiana right now is ranked number 13.
Okay. So Indiana has quietly been good, though.
Yes, all year.
They have quietly been good.
Yep.
And then also another game last week, Notre Dame, Georgia Tech. That game, I thought it was going to be a little closer. They still didn't win by a lot. But I think they won by 18 points, 31-13. But I thought the game was going to be a little closer.
They look good, though. They look good.
Yeah, they did. I think if Notre Dame continues this until late in the season, I think they'll be good. I think Notre Dame is going to have to win out because, like we've always said, they don't have a conference championship game.
Correct. Yep.
But they don't have that to fall back on because, like, you have Alabama, for instance. If Alabama loses another game, that's going to really hurt their chances of getting in the playoff. But then they also have that slight chance, which and they lose another SEC game, they probably won't make it in. But teams like what I'm saying is teams like that have that chance to get back in with their conference championship game.
That's true. Yep. So, like I said, we talked about last episode. I think this will be the first year you see where there's no Alabama, and most likely I think it's going to be Texas and Tennessee.
Yes, so especially if Alabama has one more loss.
Correct. Yep.
If Alabama stays in the top 12, but you know how the way they're doing this playoff is not necessarily the top 12 teams that's going to make it.
Man, they're going to put Alabama in. Alabama could be ranked number 25. They're going to put them in there.
They probably will. So let's go on to, or actually last week, I know you just said something about Indiana. Indiana beat Nebraska last week.
Yep.
And they didn't just beat them, they blew them out. It was 56-7.
Yes.
So Indiana's looking very, very good right now.
Yep.
I think we said BYU beat Oklahoma State. And they're still undefeated also.
Yep.
Let's go to this week. This week, I think Alabama was obviously mad because they shut Mizzou out this week.
They did.
But Mizzou has – I don't know how I feel about Mizzou because we called it. A couple weeks ago, we said Mizzou is kind of suspect anyway.
They got no offense, man.
That's correct. And that showed this week. They lost 34-0 to Alabama. Yep. Oregon beat Illinois this week. It was they beat them 38-9. Illinois was ranked top 22.
They were.
But like we said, Oregon Dylan Gabriel right now he's on fire right now.
I know we don't want to say this because I know where you at with this. Why is he not mentioned in the Heisman race?
I agree. He should. I'm pretty sure he's in the top 5.
Okay, all right.
Or at least I would think he would be in the top 5 because he is having a very consistent and very strong year.
Yep.
Who else won? Pittsburgh won. They beat Syracuse. Pittsburgh is quietly undefeated too.
Exactly. Yep. ACC is gonna be tough.
Huh?
ACC gonna be tough this year.
Yes, because they're in the ACC.
Yep.
Boise State won against UNLV.
Go ahead. Talk about it.
UNLV has not been the same since they lost their quarterback, though. So I wonder if UNLV still had their quarterback, would they still be undefeated?
You remember, when he first left, they won the first 2 games after. Everybody was like, "Well, it's not the quarterback." But now it's like, okay,
yes.
If they still had him, how would it be?
Exactly.
You're not gonna go on the campaign trail for your boy in this game.
I'm just saying, once again, how many yards did he have?
I don't know.
It was 180 something. Let me see. I can pull it up right now, and I can tell you how many yards he had.
I'm surprised you know off the top of your head, man. I know he had a touchdown.
I want to say I think it was 184 yards, but I don't want to. I don't want to misquote myself.
I'm just saying 180 is still good. If he had 150, still good.
100. I'm sorry, he had 228 yards.
How many?
128.
Oh, 128. Okay.
But there was a team that held him in check because he was only averaging he was averaging right at 4 yards a carry.
Yeah.
But he still had, because he had 33 carries. But he still had a touchdown. He still had over 100 yards. I mean, at the end of the day, I think the way Boise State looks at it, that's their guy. When they need a big play or when they need to hold the ball, they're going to give it to him.
I mean, they could be 3rd and 15, still give him the ball.
And sometimes he will make something happen with
it. That's true, yeah.
Who else? Notre Dame and Navy. I thought that game was going to be a little closer. I know Navy has not played. They're ranked. They're top 25, but I know the competition hasn't been there.
Yeah.
But they play, and so I expected the game to be a little bit closer. But Notre Dame pulled it out. Notre Dame won that one, 51-12, or I'm sorry, 51-14.
Yes.
What do you think about your boys though? That game scared me for a second yesterday. Ohio State and Nebraska.
Why it scare you, man? So let me say this: Ohio State they're not my team. I like number 4.
Okay.
The same way I like Ryan Williams. These boys be balling out.
Jeremiah Smith.
Yep, you're right. So I mean, I think Ohio State is going to be there in the end. Like they're going to be.
I think so because Ohio State has a good offense and good defense.
They do. Yep.
So I think that helps them out a lot.
Yeah.
But the game yesterday, they pulled it out in the end, but they scared me for a second because I thought I didn't think they was going to pull it out. Your team or team you just mentioned, Indiana, they beat Washington again.
Yep.
31-17.
I love the coach, man. The coach is my, I love his swagger, man. Like, Google me. All I do is win. Like, I love it.
Who else? Ole Miss won. Ole Miss.
That was a great game.
Yeah. We said this, 2 weeks ago. Ole Miss is going to have to win out at this point.
They do. They got to.
Ole Miss has no choice but to win out because they have 2 losses.
Yep.
And so by them winning out, I think they have a chance to make the playoffs if they win out. But once again, they're in the SEC.
Exactly.
So depends on how that plays out.
Yep.
BYU won again. They beat UCF, and UCF is not a slouch team. Correct. UCF is actually a pretty decent team.
They in Florida, man. They recruit.
Exactly. Who else? We talked about Alabama. They blew Mizzou out 34-0. The Texas game was close too.
I'm telling you, man, Texas
and Vanderbilt.
Because you got to say, man, who is the leader of the team? That's the question.
Yeah, and because if you look at the history of college football, a 2-quarterback system has never worked. So you can't necessarily run a 2-quarterback system.
Yes.
You have to pick one and be confident about your decision and just go with it.
And I kept saying this, man. When you looked at Texas with Arch, it was a certain swagger that team had.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? It was a momentum. Every time they did something, it was like everybody was together.
I agree. And like I said, as a coach, you have to make that decision. Do you roll with your – because is it Quinn? Isn't he a senior?
He's a senior, yep.
So it's like, do you roll with the senior who's been there, or do you roll with the sophomore or the second-year guy who has not been there, but you notice the team plays better and has a better swagger with him on the field?
And you also got, though, in the fake allegations this week about he's going to sit out and prepare for NFL. Like, okay, when I saw him, I'm like, oh, okay, this is great for Texas, kind of.
Yep.
And then it's like, okay, this is fake. This isn't real news. So
yeah, because when I saw that, it was actually on a legitimate on a legitimate news site too, or a legitimate sports site. And then once I did some research, I seen that that a source close to him never actually said that.
Okay.
Now, if they lose another game and they're out of the playoffs, I do see that happening. If they don't have a chance to get in the playoffs, I definitely see him making that move to get ready for the NFL.
I would too.
Who else yesterday? Miami.
About your boys?
Huh?
I'm gonna talk about your boys.
Who?
Colorado.
Who?
Colorado.
Oh, we're gonna get to them.
Okay, all right. Let me step back.
Yeah, we're gonna get to them.
All right.
I'm just going down the list. So Miami beat Florida State. That's no shocker. Florida State.
You said the name? You actually said it.
What?
You don't say that team on here.
It just because when did they start the season at? Was it number 3 or
number 4?
Number 4?
They went number 4.
They go from a top 5 team to 1-7.
Yes.
And it's not like they had any major losses within injuries. They got the same team they started with.
Except the quarterback from last year.
Yes.
Yep.
And how do you go that? How do you slide that far?
Yeah.
It's beyond me. Cam Moore playing amazing.
Yes.
He's still playing good. He's still obviously top 5 in the Heisman race. Game after that, we got obviously Penn State. Penn State and Wisconsin. A lot of the analysts were saying this was going to be marking this as a loss for Penn State because obviously Wisconsin's not a slouch team. Wisconsin's pretty good.
Yeah.
But once again, you had that you had the rushing offense step up and win the game. But you also had Penn State's quarterback go down, so they had to throw the backup. Backup actually didn't look bad either.
I would start okay. I'm gonna say it here too. I like the backup, but I don't like the starting quarterback.
The backup is good. I like the backup. He's really good, but by them having a two running back system, they are going to do some damage long run because when one of your players is not on, you got the other one.
Yep.
And they both are two completely different styles of running because you got Nicholas Singleton, who's more of your speed back, and then you got Katron Allen, who's more of your power back, but he's also he's not a slow power back either. He's more of like I don't want to say Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I knew. I was thinking it.
But he has that power, but he also has breakaway speed.
And when they run that set, when you got both of them in the game together,
yes,
you don't know where the ball going.
Exactly, and you can't tell because they both can catch the ball out the backfield too.
Yep. Yeah.
So they will be a problem in the long run if they both stay healthy.
Correct. Yep.
Texas A&M beat LSU. LSU was up in that game at first, and we called this a couple weeks ago. We said LSU always at this time of the season. LSU always starts going downhill.
And look, we got to shout out Fred because Fred said the same thing. He was like,
yes, he said the exact same thing.
He said, "Don't bet with LSU." He said because LSU always lose.
Yep. Kansas State once again is winning, still winning.
Yeah, they are. Yep.
Kansas State is their one-loss team. They're top. They're what? Top six. They're number 16, or at least last week. Last week they were number 16. Number 17. Okay, so they fell one after the win.
Yep.
Somehow. And SMU beat Duke. I actually had Duke winning that game.
I know, man. I know.
I had Duke winning. It was a close game. They won 28-20. SMU won 28-27, but I had Duke on top. Colorado looked good last night at first. Fourth quarter, they started to sway off a little bit and didn't look so good towards the end of the game.
Yep.
But they still came. At the end of the day, they still came out with the win. Shedeur still looking good.
Yeah.
Travis Hunter still looking good, both sides of the ball. The running game actually looked really good yesterday, which I think helped them out.
That's true.
They were able to manage the clock more, especially in the second half.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that helped them out.
I agree.
So what do you think about up until this far in the season, Heisman? Who is your top three? If you had to pick three right now, who's your top three?
All right. Travis Hunter.
Okay.
I'm going to throw Gabriel in there just because they keep winning.
Okay.
And you already know who the third one in there is.
Who?
I mean, you can say it.
Who? Ashton Jenney.
Yeah, he is, definitely. He's the front runner.
You gonna leave Cam Ward out?
I got to, man. Like, can you discredit what Travis Hunter doing?
So my three would be, and if I had to go in order, I would say Ashton Jenney and I would put Travis Hunter and Cam Ward together. I don't know if I could put them 2 and 3. And the only reason I say Travis Jenney at number 1, and Travis Hunter, I guess, alluded to that look at how many times Jenney is touching the ball versus him. And I agree to that point. But on the flip side, I don't think you can discount what Jenney is doing, even though he might be touching the ball 20 to 30 times a game, but they're winning and he's being very, very consistent.
Okay. In case of Travis Hunter, he's shutting down one side of the field.
Yeah, he is.
On defense. So teams don't throw it to his side that often.
That's true. So it makes it.
Let me finish. Then he lines up on offense and scores touchdowns on offense.
Yeah, I agree.
And when he's on the field, he's the primary weapon on offense.
And to your point, it does make his defensive numbers drop a little bit because they're not coming to his side. So he's not getting a lot of interceptions. He's not getting a lot of tackles because they're not throwing to his side.
Think about he is the new day Darrelle Revis.
Oh yeah, I agree.
So it's like, okay, his numbers would be inflated if people threw against him.
I agree.
And thirdly, do you discount Dylan Gabriel because his team is winning? If you look at the Heisman Trophy race, it's most of the time it's the team that's winning the most the Heisman comes off that team a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
So all he's doing is winning.
I agree.
Big games, winning.
I think what's going to be interesting though is come playoff time because even when we're talking about when you talk about conference championship games, like if you got I want to say Miami's going to run away with the ACC, but on the flip side, you still got Clemson who was really picked up after that first loss. And you got Pittsburgh, but my question is, I wonder is Pittsburgh on the same caliber as Miami?
We won't know until we get into.
I know because they're undefeated. So because a lot of people say some of these undefeated teams hadn't played anybody, but look at Vandy. Vandy's not undefeated, but they're not touted as a top tier team, but yet. They come out here, they beat Alabama one week, ranked the next week, and then they just almost beat Texas.
Yep.
So it's like these teams who people say aren't playing anybody, like how good are they actually? Like if they play a good team, they could get blown out. But on the flip side, they could make it a great game.
Yep.
Because I think what a lot of people don't realize, especially like with Pittsburgh, like yes, they're undefeated. The competition that they're playing has not been the level of some of these other teams. But when you're constantly winning like that, you have a certain momentum and a certain swagger with you that that sometimes can't be seen from the outside.
Yep, that's right.
So I think it's going to be interesting. I honestly think the college playoff up until this point is wide open.
It is, man. I'd still say Oregon right now has to be the favorite. I know the number one team. But just off the win of Ohio State, even though it was a dumb play at the end of the game, but I honestly feel like right now they're the top team in the nation.
I agree. But you see what happened last time Oregon made it to the national championship.
Hey man, stop. That was an anomaly. Like
the one man show completely
exactly. That man, the best college football season ever.
Yes. I think we hit on pretty much all the main games. Quick question: do you think Colorado is now bowl eligible? Is Colorado ranked in the top 25?
I just hit it up. Yes.
Where are they at?
23.
23.
That's what I was going to bring up. Don't they play Kansas State?
Yes, and they play BYU. If I'm not mistaken, no. They lost to Kansas State.
They lost to Kansas State.
I think they lost to Kansas. Let me see. I want to say I think they lost to Kansas State. Let's see.
This week.
Yes, they lost to Kansas State.
Yep.
They got Texas Tech this week, Utah, Colorado, and then Oklahoma State.
Let's say this. Texas Tech ain't no slouch either.
I know. They got their running back.
Yeah.
But you got to remember, I did say a couple weeks ago, when we talked about this, we said, can Colorado make the playoffs? You specifically said no.
You said if they win out.
I said if they win out and they win the conference championship.
I don't think so, man.
They have to win out and win the conference championship. Because you think about it, if they win the conference championship, isn't BYU in their same conference? Is BYU not in their same conference?
So they gotta be. They gonna have. So they either play BYU or Kansas State in the conference championship.
Yes, and you still got Ohio. You still got Iowa State though. What is Iowa State rank?
I forgot about Iowa State, number 11.
So the problem is, or will they even make that conference championship? Because they already have 2 losses. You have BYU and Iowa State, who are both undefeated in their conference.
Yeah, that's true.
But if they win out, I think they have a chance.
I want to ask another question. We're gonna keep it to the teams, though. I want to ask a question so bad.
Well, go ahead.
All right. If they don't make the college playoffs, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about Colorado. Deion staying for next year? Because I'm just saying, the way Florida State looking right now.
I think that's hard to call because obviously he's there now because of Travis Hunter and Shador. They're both leaving at the same time.
And Shiloh leaving too.
Yes, Shiloh leaving too. So does that give him any reason to stay there. Because you also got to look at the flip side. He's bringing players in too.
And with the transfer portal the way it is now,
yes,
he can take them players right wherever he go.
Yes, and he can because I guess because it's really up to what he wants to do. Because obviously money is not a huge issue for him.
Correct. Yep.
So it's like where does he want to play? I think also what may factor into it is where Shedeur goes. Because because you think about it, if Shedeur goes somewhere like the Raiders, Colorado keeps him close to Vegas.
Does he go coach the Raiders?
I don't know if he'll go to NFL.
Okay, got you.
I honestly don't, because just seeing what he's doing, he's more
building men.
Yes, more building men than essentially. I don't want to call it babysitting, but when you're in the NFL, you kind of do what you want to do. Like you're making millions of dollars. If you say, "Oh, I'm hurt this game, I don't feel like playing," like you're gonna sit out. In college, if you're actually hurt, you can sit out. But in college, you're more trying to make it to that next level. In the NFL, you're playing to play.
Yeah, that's true.
In college, you're playing to make it to the NFL.
Yep.
So I think I don't know if he would do that.
Yeah.
But I do want to say I think where Shedeur goes may play a role in whether he stays with Colorado or not.
Okay.
So I think that will be interesting to see.
Gotcha.
I don't know if Shedeur is going to. I don't know if Shedeur will be the first quarterback chosen. He is probably
we on this again.
I'm just saying he is probably one of the most pure passers coming out.
Yeah.
But I think it depends on what a team is looking for.
Okay.
Because you have some teams that want a pure quarterback. You have other teams who want a quarterback who can move around.
Gotcha.
Because if you come somewhere like the Panthers,
we're not doing this.
The Panthers, like you gotta be good on your feet. Because obviously you gotta move around.
Yeah.
Cam Newton made a living doing it. So
that's true.
But I think it depends on who has first overall pick of where he goes. Because there's a lot of teams right now that need quarterbacks.
I agree.
Because there's a lot of teams that play quarterback that are essentially playing fill-in quarterbacks. So you look at the Browns now. The Browns also need a quarterback because Jameis Winston isn't your long-term answer.
That's true.
Because he's getting older. Yeah, he won today, and he could have 2-3 more good years in him. But you bring somebody in to sit behind him, that'd be good too. And then you look at Miami. Is Tua the long-term answer? Because one more concussion for Tua, and he has to be done.
I agree.
Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He has to be done.
He should have been done after this concussion he just had.
I think so, especially the way he went down.
Yep.
I definitely think I understand he loves the game of football, but at some point you have to look past that.
Correct.
And even other teams, because obviously we already talked about the Raiders. The Rams, I think, are going to be in the market for quarterback soon because Matthew Stafford, he doesn't have too long left.
Yeah.
Then you look at who else? Arizona, I think Kyler Murray is coming to an end with them.
No.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
I think they're going to move on from Kyler Murray within the next 2 to 3 years.
I think they invested so much money in their key players that now they're going to rebuild around him in the draft. Like,
you think so?
Giving Marvin Harrison. You got Trey McBride at tight end. They're slowly building that team. So yeah,
that's true.
I think so.
What other teams need a quarterback? Washington obviously got old boy.
Yeah,
Colts are good.
The Colts is still the verdict is still out.
They're not gonna give up on Anthony Richardson.
We don't know yet. We don't know.
I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they would give up on him.
What has he done though?
Shit, he has to stay healthy.
My point exactly. Like I said, what has he done?
Drake May was looking good today before he went down.
Here we go. Now, I think that team is making the biggest mistake.
Who?
The Patriots playing the wrong quarterback.
Who you think they should play?
Milton.
He didn't look good in preseason though.
I don't care. It's preseason.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's players that ain't look good in preseason, but the real season they look better. Don't ask me who. I'm just saying.
I don't know, Joe, because I like Joe Milton. I just don't. He just didn't look good in preseason. I mean, obviously he looked good when they played the Panthers. He had that scramble that went for like 60 or a 60-yard pass or something like that. But then again, that's the Panthers.
Here we go.
The Panthers just need to rebuild completely.
You know what team needs a quarterback?
Who?
Seattle.
I thought about that, but it would be good for them to pick somebody to sit behind Geno for a few years.
Yep.
Yes, because Geno is actually doing pretty. Something happened and he just revamped his career. Like starting what was it last year?
He had a whole catchphrase last year.
What was it?
I can't remember. It's like they gave up on me. But I ain't. Somehow they called me, but I ain't called back. So I forgot what it was. Something crazy, you know.
But yeah, he just revamped his career.
He did.
So I think he got some more years in him, but it would be good for them to have somebody sit behind him. So right. I think that would be good.
The Steelers?
Steelers, yeah, they're not rolling with either one of them, I don't think. Because obviously Russell Wilson's coming to an end.
Yep.
And I don't think he's the answer.
The Jets?
Jets, yeah, because Aaron Rodgers might have another year in him.
Yep.
Who else? The Jets have a good supporting cast, though.
They do, but they still would need a quarterback.
Yes. So I think because they got a good defense and they got a good offense.
Yep. So
the question is, why can't they win right now? Is the question. But as speaking of quarterbacks, yes, they need a quarterback.
Yep.
The Saints, I don't know how long they're going to roll with Derek Carr.
They don't need somebody else.
Yeah, I think they're going to need somebody else.
Yep.
Obviously, the Panthers are going to need a quarterback. And to a conversation me and you were talking about earlier, I think the Panthers, the reason I say I would rather have Cam Ward here over any other quarterback because Cam Ward can make stuff happen with his feet.
Okay.
We need and no shot against Shador because Shador is a great improviser, but Shador is not looking to scramble.
Yeah.
Cam Ward, if it's not there, he'll take off.
I get that, but I still think that Shador would be the better option for y'all because he can run. If he needs to run, he will run. But you thinking about like another Cam Newton type player.
Yes.
Give him an O-line, and he will, be great.
Well, because our O-line this year is deep.
Start this.
I'm telling you, go look at the games.
Okay, all right, we're not doing this today.
I mean, if we talking about Bryce Young, he just can't see over the line, so he has to leave out the pocket.
What happened with Andy Dalton last week? We talking college. So I ain't going to even go in this. I'm just going to talk. We talking about who getting drafted.
It's Andy Dalton. He was playing with y'all. When y'all had one of the best lines in the league, look what he did.
He was terrible. Yeah,
exactly. But so as we see, it's a lot of teams that need a quarterback.
Yep.
They say this year's quarterback class is not as good as last year, but I kind of disagree. This year's quarterback class seems pretty good.
It does. I agree. I think this will be one of the best quarterback classes to come out.
I think so too. Yep. Because you got a lot of quarterbacks that are coming out this year, and a lot of teams that need quarterbacks. So I think this year's quarterback class is going to be a great class.
Yes, it will be.
Yes. Did we miss anything? Because I think we like I said, kind of caught up on 2 weeks. As we see, once again, we was talking about I think Davis knew we was going to talk about the Alabama game last week, so maybe that's why he's not here this week.
I mean, I won't say this. I know he's going to be like, that's not the case. I think he recovered from Asheville, helping out Nashville. So we want to say, we thank you for helping out Nashville.
Okay.
But you have yet to come back on the podcast to talk college football since Alabama started losing. And then they don't look the best. So let's talk about it, Davis.
They look good this week, but we'll see what happens going forward.
I know.
But then we gave a great recap of this week.
Yes.
Definitely we'll be back next week. And as we said 2-3 weeks ago, as we're moving into these conference games, the games are getting a lot closer.
Yeah.
And I think we're in for a few more upsets.
Oh,
so
you already know that. Yep.
So I think it's going to be interesting over the next couple of weeks to see who else is upset and how things shake up.
Yes.
But I think we gave people enough for this week. And as you know, as the people know, before we get off every podcast, what we always say is, this is more than a podcast. We handing out crowns.
Hand them out.
Who the lover, who the hate? Who the realest in my circle? Who the one who be the snakes? Who gon' fold up under pressure? Who gon' understand the stakes? Who gon' wait to get they food to try to take from off my plate? Who the love? Who gon' understand I'm hurt? Who gon' love me unconditionally and try and make it work? Who gon' party once I'm gone and shed a tear once I'm in dirt? I ain't asking for too much, I'm trying to understand my